And obviously your pickup point begins higher with Caitlin out there. She can shoot it once it crosses half court, and she will.
Stephanie White is the single most baffling obstacle standing between Caitlin Clark and the championship-caliber environment she has earned with her blood, sweat, and historic production. While every other coach in this league, and I mean every single one, publicly recognizes the generational, undeniable, franchise-altering talent sitting in Indiana's backcourt, Stephanie White continues to run an offensive system that makes Caitlin and Kelsey Mitchell take turns instead of letting them hunt together. And the contrast that just emerged this week is absolutely brutal. LA Sparks head coach Lynne Roberts took the podium before their game against Indiana, and she did something Stephanie White has never done in public. She praised Caitlin Clark with the kind of respect that champions give to champions. She talked about Caitlin's range. She talked about Caitlin's pace. She talked about the adjustments you have to make just to survive against her. And then she went further. She praised Kate Martin, Caitlin's Iowa teammate who is now thriving in LA, with the kind of detail that tells you Lynne Roberts actually watches film and understands how to maximize talent. Meanwhile, Stephanie White is still out here telling reporters that Caitlin and Kelsey complement each other, while the entire league watches one of them go off and the other one disappear every single night. Welcome back. This is Channel Name, and today we are exposing the coaching gap that is costing Caitlin Clark her prime and documenting the exact moment LA laid the groundwork to bring her home.
About it, I think the way that they play complements one another. With Caitlin's ability to shoot and facilitate, and with Kelsey's ability to get downhill, to create.
Before we get into what Lynne Roberts said on camera, and trust me, you need to hear this word for word, I need you to understand the stakes here. Caitlin Clark is coming off a minute's restriction. She just returned to the lineup. And even with that, Lynne Roberts is game planning around her like she's the most dangerous player on the floor, not just dangerous, inevitable. Lynne Roberts used the phrase, she will shoot it once she crosses half court. Not she can. Not she might, she will. That is respect. That is fear. That is a coach who has done her homework and knows that if you give Caitlin Clark 3 feet of space at the logo, you are going to end up on a highlight reel with your hands on your hips wondering what just happened. And here's what nobody on mainstream media is willing to say out loud. Lynne Roberts is not just respecting Caitlin Clark because she is a good player. She is respecting her because she wants her. The LA Sparks are building something, and they know that if they can get Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin back together in purple and gold, they are not just playoff bound, they are championship bound. I am going to show you the receipts. I am going to show you the clips. And I am going to walk you through exactly why this matters more than any trade rumor you have heard this season. But first, if you have been watching my last 3 videos, you already know I have been documenting Stephanie White's refusal to unleash Caitlin and Kelsey at the same time. The comments section on those videos is full of people saying the same thing I am saying. One of them dominates, the other one watches, and it has been that way for a season and a half. That ends today. Stay with me.
And obviously your pickup point begins higher with Caitlin out there. She can shoot it once it crosses half court, and she will.
Let me take you inside the press conference. This is before the game. Lynne Roberts is at the podium. John Davis from the Southern California News Group asks her about game planning against Caitlin Clark, who is returning on a minute's restriction. And listen to what Lynne Roberts does here. She does not downplay it. She does not hedge. She does not say, well, we will see how it goes. She immediately elevates Caitlin to the level of the 3-headed monster in Indiana, Caitlin. Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston. She says Indiana is good. She says they play fast. And then she says the thing that every coach in this league knows, but most of them will not say on camera. Caitlin Clark makes them play faster, not just fast, faster. That is the difference between a good team and a nightmare matchup. Caitlin does not just execute the system, she accelerates it. She turns half-court sets into transition buckets in 2 seconds. She turns live ball turnovers into daggers from 30 feet. Lynne Roberts knows this. She has seen the film. She has watched Caitlin torch teams that tried to play conventional defense against her. And so she tells her team your pickup point starts higher. You cannot give her space. You cannot let her get comfortable. Because once she crosses half court, she is in her range. And if you do not believe me, if you think I am overstating this, let me show you what Lynne Roberts said with her own words. Watch this.
About it, I think the way that they play complements one another. With Caitlin's ability to shoot and facilitate, and with Kelsey's ability to get downhill, to create.
She said it with cameras rolling in front of the entire media pool. Your pickup point begins higher with Caitlin out there. She can shoot it once she crosses half court, and she will. Let me say that back to you in case you missed it. Lynne Roberts just told the world that Caitlin Clark is so dangerous that traditional defensive coverages do not apply. You cannot sag off. You cannot go under screens. You cannot give her 3 feet of space at half court. Because she will punish you. And the word choice matters here. She will. Not she might try, not if she is feeling it. She will. That is the kind of respect you give to Steph Curry. That is the kind of respect you give to Damian Lillard. That is the kind of respect you give to generational shooters who have earned the right to take shots that would get anyone else benched. And Lynne Roberts is giving that respect to Caitlin Clark before the game even starts. Meanwhile, Stephanie White is still out here running ISO sets for Kelsey Mitchell and telling Caitlin to facilitate like she is a role player instead of the most electric scorer in the league. This is what coaching malpractice looks like. One coach sees greatness and adjusts her entire defensive scheme around it. The other coach sees greatness and tries to manage it, contain it, fit it into a system that was not built for someone like Caitlin Clark. And the gap between those two approaches is the difference between a championship window and a wasted prime. But Lynne Roberts did not stop there. And this is where it gets really interesting for everyone watching Caitlin Clark's future. After the game after LA won, Lynne Roberts went back to the podium and she started talking about Kate Martin. Kate Martin, Caitlin's Iowa teammate, her best friend, the player who knows her game better than anyone on the planet. And Lynne Roberts did not just praise Kate Martin in some generic, she works hard kind of way. She broke down Kate's versatility. She talked about how Kate can play any position, guard any spot, do whatever the team needs in the moment. She used the phrase, "That is what I love about Kmart. She can play for you, she knows what you need." And then she admitted something that most coaches would never say on camera. LA did not take full advantage of the mismatches Kate Martin created on offense. She said, "We have got to have the IQ to recognize the mismatch. That knife cuts both ways." Translation, Kate Martin is not just a role player, she is a weapon, and Lynne Roberts knows it. She is already thinking about how to use her better. She is already thinking about spacing, mismatches, offensive advantages. That is what great coaches do. They see talent and they figure out how to maximize it. And here is the part that should terrify Indiana and excite every Caitlin Clark fan who is tired of watching her waste her prime in a broken system. Lynne Roberts is building a team in LA that could reunite Caitlin and Kate. The Sparks have cap space. They have a young core. They have a coach who actually respects greatness instead of trying to manage it. And if you watch the post-game interaction between Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin, you saw it. You saw Caitlin walk over to Kate in her purple and gold uniform and you could read it on her face. She misses her. She misses playing with someone who knows her game, who does not need 3 possessions to figure out where she is going to be, who can cut at the exact right time because they have done it 1,000 times before. That chemistry does not just disappear because you are on different teams. And Lynne Roberts knows it. She is laying the groundwork. She is praising Caitlin on camera. She is maximizing Kate on the court. And she is sending a message to the entire league. If Caitlin Clark ever wants out of Indiana, LA is ready. Now let me show you the other side of this equation. Because while Lynne Roberts is out here showing the entire league how a competent coach talks about generational talent, Stephanie White is still fumbling through press conferences trying to explain why Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell cannot seem to dominate at the same time. A reporter asked her about their fit. And Stephanie White gave the most telling answer I have heard all season. She said they have not had a lot of time together. She said they are both elite guards. She said they complement one another. And then she said the thing that should make every Indiana fan's blood boil. She said they seem to find the right synergy in moments. In moments, not consistently, not every night, in moments. Let me translate that for you. Stephanie White does not know how to get them to play well together. She does not have a system that unleashes both of them at the same time. She is hoping they figure it out on their own in moments when the game flow happens to align. That is not coaching. That is crossing your fingers and praying, and the worst part, she knows it. You can hear it in her voice. She knows that individually they are really, really good. But she does not know how to make them collectively dynamic together on a consistent basis. And that is a fireable offense when you have 2 of the best guards in the league on your roster. Let me show you what she said. Watch this. Listen to that answer. Listen to the hedging. With Caitlin's ability to shoot and facilitate, and with Kelsey's ability to get downhill to create opportunities for herself and for others in that way. Stop. Kelsey Mitchell does not create for others. Let me be entirely clear about this because I am tired of hearing the polite version. Kelsey Mitchell shoots. That is what she does. She is a scorer. She is a bucket getter. She is not a facilitator. She is not a playmaker. She is not someone who is going to collapse the defense and kick it out to the open shooter. And that is fine. Every team needs a scorer. But do not stand at the podium and tell me she creates opportunities for others when the entire league knows that when the ball goes to Kelsey, it is not coming back out unless the shot clock is expiring. And here is the thing that drives me insane about this answer. Stephanie White is describing 2 players who should fit perfectly together. Caitlin is a shooter and a facilitator. Kelsey is a downhill scorer. That is a perfect pairing. That is a backcourt that should be unstoppable. But Stephanie White cannot figure out how to get them to play well together because she does not have an offensive system that lets them hunt at the same time. She has them taking turns. One game Caitlin goes off and Kelsey disappears. The next game Kelsey goes off and Caitlin facilitates. And the result is that Indiana has 2 elite guards who seem to find the right synergy in moments instead of 2 elite guards who destroy teams every single night for 40 minutes. That is coaching malpractice. That is a wasted opportunity. And that is why Caitlin Clark is going to start looking at other options if this does not change soon. Let me take you through the tactical failure here because this is not just about vibes or chemistry or finding the right synergy in moments. This is about XS and OS. This is about offensive structure, and Stephanie White is failing at the most basic level. When you have 2 elite guards, you have 3 options. Option 1, you stagger them. You run one with the starters and one with the bench so you always have an offensive engine on the floor. That works if you have depth. If you have role players who can execute if you trust your second unit. Indiana does not have that. Option 2, you run a two-timeline offense where one guard is the primary initiator and the other is the secondary creator, and they take turns depending on the matchup and the game flow. That works if you have a coach who can read defenses in real time and make adjustments on the fly. Stephanie White does not do that. She runs the same sets regardless of what the defense is showing. Option 3, and this is the option that championship teams use, you run them together in a system that lets them both hunt at the same time. You put Caitlin on the wing where she can shoot, cut, or facilitate. You put Kelsey in pick-and-roll actions where she can attack downhill or pull up. You space the floor with shooters. You run motion sets that create multiple actions on every possession. And you trust your guards to read the defense and make the right play. That is what the Las Vegas Aces do with Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum. That is what the Seattle Storm used to do with Sue Bird and Jewel Lloyd. That is what every great backcourt in the history of this league has done. But Stephanie White does not run that system. She runs a rigid, predictable half-court offense that forces Caitlin and Kelsey to take turns instead of letting them cook together. And the result is that one of them dominates and the other one stands in the corner. Every single game, that is not a personnel problem. That is a coaching problem. And if Stephanie White cannot figure it out soon, Caitlin Clark is going to demand a trade to a team that actually knows how to use her. And here is the pattern of behavior that nobody wants to talk about. This is not the first time Stephanie White has mismanaged elite talent. This is not the first time she has run a system that does not maximize her best players. Go back and watch the film from earlier this season when Aliyah Boston was healthy. Same problem. Aliyah would dominate one game, Caitlin would dominate the next, and they never seemed to find a rhythm together. Go back and watch the playoff series from last year. Same problem. Stephanie White made adjustments too late, ran predictable sets in crunch time, and got outcoached by teams with less talent. And now we are watching it again with Caitlin and Kelsey. 3 games in a row, 3 identical mistakes. 3 times Caitlin Clark paid the price. Game 1, Kelsey takes 30 shots, Caitlin facilitates, they lose. Game 2, Caitlin goes off, Kelsey disappears. They barely win. Game 3, same thing, back and forth, taking turns, never dominating together. And every single time Stephanie White stands at the podium and says they complement each other and they are finding the right synergy in moments like that is an acceptable answer for a team with championship aspirations. It is not. It is a failure. And the longer this goes on, the more Caitlin Clark is going to look around the league and see coaches like Lynne Roberts who actually respect greatness, who actually know how to build systems around elite talent, who actually want to win championships instead of just making the playoffs and hoping for the best. And here is the part that should make every Indiana fan furious: the enablers, the front office, the assistant coaches, the media members who cover this team every single day and refuse to ask the hard questions. Where is the accountability? Where is the pressure on Stephanie White to fix this? Where are the reports that the front office is concerned about the lack of offensive synergy between their 2 best guards? They do not exist. Because everyone around Stephanie White is protecting her. Everyone around her is giving her the benefit of the doubt. Everyone around her is saying, well, they have not had a lot of time together, like that is a valid excuse for a coach in her 2nd season with this team. And meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there playing her heart out, putting up historic numbers, dragging this team to wins they do not deserve, and getting 0 help from the coaching staff. 0 adjustments. 0 creativity. 0 willingness to admit that maybe, just maybe, the system is broken and it is time to try something new. That is what enabler culture looks like. That is what happens when a franchise values stability over excellence, when they would rather keep a coach who is good enough instead of demanding greatness. And every single one of them, the GM, the assistant coaches, the beat writers who cover this team, every single one of them stayed silent while Caitlin Clark's prime is being wasted. Receipts coming. I have been documenting this for 3 months, and I am telling you, this is not going to end well unless something changes soon. And here is the cost. Here is what Caitlin Clark is losing while Stephanie White figures out how to coach an elite backcourt. She is losing her prime. She is losing the years where her athleticism, her shooting, her court vision are all at their peak. She is losing the opportunity to play in a system that actually maximizes her talent instead of managing it. She is losing the chance to build championship-level chemistry with a co-star who could help her win titles instead of taking turns. And most importantly, she is losing time. Because every season that goes by with Stephanie White running this broken system is a season that Caitlin Clark does not get back. You do not get a second prime. You do not get a do-over. You get a window, and that window closes faster than anyone wants to admit. And right now, Caitlin Clark's window is being wasted by a coach who does not know how to use her. That is what Caitlin Clark's prime is being burned for. Not a championship, not a dynasty, not even a deep playoff run. It is being burned for finding the right synergy in moments and hoping that maybe eventually Stephanie White will figure it out. That is unacceptable. And if I am Caitlin Clark's agent, I am already having conversations about what happens if this does not change by the trade deadline. So let me lay out exactly what is going to happen next. I am staking 5 predictions, and I want every single person watching this video to save this and come back when I am right. Prediction number 1, Stephanie White's job security. If Stephanie White is still the head coach of the Indiana Fever by the start of next season, and Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are still taking turns instead of dominating together, I want every single person to come back and roast me in the comments. But here is what I actually think happens. The front office gives her one more playoff run. If they flame out in the first round again, if they lose to a team with less talent because Stephanie White got outcoached again, she is gone. And the replacement is going to be someone who has a track record of building elite offenses. Mark it. Prediction number 2, Caitlin Clark's next move. By the trade deadline next season, we are going to see Caitlin Clark start making public comments about wanting to play in a system that maximizes her talent. She is not going to demand a trade outright. She is too smart for that. She knows how the media will spin it. But she is going to start dropping hints. She is going to start praising other teams' offensive systems. She is going to start talking about fit and chemistry and playing the right way. When that happens, the front office is going to have a choice: fire Stephanie White or lose Caitlin Clark. Save this clip. Prediction number 3, the LA Sparks are going to make a move. Within the next 6 months, you are going to see reports that the Sparks have reached out to Indiana about a Caitlin Clark trade. They are going to offer picks, they are going to offer young players, they are going to offer whatever it takes. And the pitch is going to be simple: come to LA. Reunite with Kate Martin, play for a coach who actually respects your greatness, and compete for championships in the second biggest market in the league. Watch the next 2 weeks. The groundwork is already being laid. Prediction number 4, the news cycle is going to shift. Right now, the mainstream media is still giving Stephanie White the benefit of the doubt. They are still running stories about how Caitlin and Kelsey are learning to play together and how it takes time to build chemistry. But that narrative is going to break wide open when one of the major outlets runs the article they are already sitting on. Someone is going to interview former players, former coaches, offensive analysts who will go on the record and say what I am saying right now: Stephanie White does not know how to maximize elite backcourt talent. And once that article drops, the pressure is going to ramp up fast. Prediction number 5. This season ends one of 2 ways. Either Indiana makes a deep playoff run because Stephanie White finally figures out how to get Caitlin and Kelsey to play well together consistently, or they flame out in the first or second round and the entire franchise has to reckon with the fact that they wasted another year of Caitlin Clark's prime. And if it is the second option, if they lose in the playoffs because Stephanie White could not make the adjustments, then by this time next year Caitlin Clark is going to be in a different uniform. Mark this video. Come back and tell me I was wrong if I am wrong, but I am not going to be wrong. And here is the closing emotional beat that I need every single person watching this video to sit with. Right now, in this exact moment, Caitlin Clark is doing everything the haters said she could not do. She is dominating in the WNBA. She is putting up numbers that rookies are not supposed to put up. She is selling out arenas. She is bringing new fans to the league. She is playing at an all-star level despite being on a minutes restriction. Despite playing for a coach who does not know how to use her, despite carrying an offensive load that would break most players. And she is doing it with grace. She is doing it without complaining. She is doing it without demanding trades or throwing her coach under the bus or leaking stories to the media. She is doing it the right way. And the league is repaying her by letting Stephanie White waste her prime. That is the reality. That is what is happening right now. And if you are a Caitlin Clark fan, if you have been watching her since Iowa, if you believe she is a generational talent who deserves to compete for championships, then you need to start asking the hard questions. You need to start demanding accountability. You need to start putting pressure on the Indiana Fever front office to either fix this or let her go to a team that will. Because Caitlin Clark does not have time to wait for Stephanie White to figure it out. Her prime is happening right now. And every game that goes by with this broken system is a game she does not get back. Alright, here is what I need from you. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark being wasted in Indiana under Stephanie White's system, or is she actually in the best possible situation and I am overreacting? Pick a side, defend it. I want to hear from every single person watching this video. And while you are down there, save this comment. I just predicted that by the trade deadline next season, Caitlin Clark is going to start making public comments about wanting to play in a system that maximizes her talent. If I am right by then, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me. I will own it. And tag the friend who keeps telling you that Stephanie White is a good coach and Caitlin just needs more time. Make them watch this video and tell you they still believe it after hearing what Lynne Roberts said on camera. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow, we are going to break down the latest trade rumors surrounding the Fever backcourt, and I am going to show you the 3 teams that are already positioning themselves to make a move for Caitlin Clark if Indiana does not fix this soon. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. This is channel name. We will see you in the next video.